We're going to pause just one moment to make sure we're being recorded here. Event recording in progress. Perfect. Thank you. Just for the record, in case it was missed on the recording, we have 6 out of 7 commissioners present today, so we'll proceed with official business. You should have in front of you, or should have received via email, a copy of the agenda. I do want to call out just very quickly that the approval of the February minutes, along with the March meeting minutes that will be taken today, will occur at the next meeting in April. Okay, just want to make sure all the commissioners understand that. So we'll be approving the February meeting minutes, which will be distributed shortly at the April meeting, along with the March meeting minutes as well. So just a quick call out on that. Next agenda item is citizen communication. Do we have any citizen communication? No citizen communication today. Very good. With that, we will turn to Director Couch for introductions and staff reports. Please, sir.
Okay, thank you. Angela, if you'd start with administration, and then we'll just go to Cedric and go down the list. And if Mike Garrity will give a report under operations for the Little Rock Marathon, that'll be great. Thank you.
Okay, for resources administration, we have Employee Appreciation Week, May 8th through the 13th. Park contributes in many ways for that event. It's actually an event that is hosted by HR, offers various fun activities for the staff. Along with that comes with the selection of the Employee of the Year for our department for the Malon Martin Award. And hopefully we will have a selection for our department before the 20th of this month. Resources are continuing to monitor spending. We were at at 4% compared to January. So in my eye, that's a plus for us. Monitoring our spending, that's very important. We also have trainings, or had trainings, revenue compliance training, more or less input data, cash handling procedures, number comparison, just to make sure that everyone is familiar with that process, and most of all, that everyone is performing correctly. Had a device inventory meeting with IT, established a link to assist us in inputting our equipment, mainly our computers, laptops, and cell phones. Makes us a little more efficient on monitoring our equipment. We're definitely on board with this idea. Department inventory asset meeting. We will have a training this week, monitoring overall assets from our office equipment to our maintenance equipment and property. Help us to become more accurate and efficient in accounting for what we have. We're moving forward with our maintenance positions. We also have an administrative assistant positions and some positions that's also in recreation that we're needing to fill. We're also moving forward with our accreditation standards and sections. Right now in the process of assigning our administrative team sections that they can be working on. Summer requisitions are completed. We have over 100 positions, lifeguards, park maintenance workers, cashiers, operator, various positions. So pass the word to anyone who is seeking a part-time position. We could definitely use help in all of those areas. That concludes resources administration.
Any commissioner questions for Deputy Director Nelson? You have quite a bit on your plate. Glad to have you back. Thank you for all you do.
I have a quick question. The inventories that you had to do, is that an annual thing or is that new or?
That's new.
Okay.
I mean, not new, it's annual.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually start mainly in like October or somewhere like that, but it's just good to get a head start on it.
Okay, very good.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cedric Mayfield. I'm the Recreation Programs Coordinator for the City of Little Rock, and I oversee community centers. Today and probably for the next commission meeting, I'll be standing in for Deputy Director Shawanda Robinson. All right. I'm going to give a brief overview of programming for community centers. Current programs include Latchkey program, which is our after school program. We're finishing up a basketball program for youth. We'll be heading into the busiest part of our season, which is summer and spring and summer. And those programmings opportunities will include junior hoops, which is a basketball program for junior high and senior high school students, moving into soccer, and then into summer, where we'll be doing our swimming programs and sorry. All right, which will include our swimming programs, also as well as our baseball, softball, and t-ball programs. Such a distraction. Thank you. All right. That's the bulk of the programming aspects. Some of the things that we also do, which we consider to be those nuggets or those jewels that are outside of normal programming. We did the father-daughter dance here in February. We also did a mother-son dance. And then, of course, there's Mardi Gras. The seniors program put on an outstanding Mardi Gras program held at Southwest Community Center. And the thing that was really outstanding about it is that we picked up a lot of traffic from social media. We branched out here lately to really increase our online presence. So a lot of these activities are going out to Facebook and other social media outlets, so we can be a little bit more visible and we can attract more participation from the citizens of Little Rock. I also want to take a moment just to mention some of the departmental trainings because you'll see them throughout the report where they're talking about active shooter training. That was a departmental training held by the Little Rock Police Department that we all attended. We also attended a fire extinguisher training put on by the Little Rock Fire Department. Moving on throughout recreation, I want to take a moment to mention MacArthur Museum, who hosts the movies in the park, and also movies at MacArthur, I'm sorry. And it's continuing to maintain its average of about 40 participants. Moving on to athletics, because this is, as I mentioned, the busy season for us, ball fields are starting to see a lot more traffic with kickball starting up, baseball and softball programs starting to take off. And so they want to get out there to those parks, those fields, and practice. All right. That's pretty much it for recreation. Any questions?
Questions for Mr. Mayfield from any of the commissioners? I do have one, but I'll defer to any other commissioners. Anybody, Lauren, anything? No? Okay. I have heard from the Little Rock Kickball Association, and they like to play out at Interstate Park. They have asked me a couple of different times over the last month or so, when can we get that road fixed going into Interstate Park? Who can help me answer that question for them? Because I don't have a good answer for them.
I may have to defer to Director Couch for that one.
So back last year, the mayor gave us some funding to realize those improvements. We did a successful bid. It's pretty clean and simple. We did some engineering drawings with Harbor Engineering. Redstone was our successful low bid. We quickly sent it to the city attorney's office, and it is currently in the city attorney's office, waiting for the contract to be completed.
Any knowledge of that contract?
No.
Okay.
When was it sent to our office?
I think that was like, September or October of last year or something. So, yeah,
Redstone.
Redstone.
Okay. Well, how about we say it like this? I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot. Sorry about that.
I'm same here. I'm
Well,
not trying to
yeah,
either.
yeah.
I know the city
Let me-
attorney's office is
I
busy,
can-
and we've checked with them multiple
Sure.
times, but it's just one of those another project that needs to be.
And I don't have that particular contract.
No,
but I
ma'am,
can
you're not
find
signed.
I can
Okay.
find out where it is, and I can email Leland an update as to, or I can have the attorney that's working on it email Leland an update. It's the Redstone agreement for street improvements.
Yes, ma'am. It's repaving the whole main road from the main entrance to the back entrance. Removal of some of the old infrastructure that is, just some of the areas that are needing to be cleaned up and stuff in terms of old asphalt and drainage, and
What park is it again?
that's the Interstate Ballpark.
Okay.
Beth, I'm so
We'll
sorry. I
get
did not
you-
mean to put you on the spot there.
No,
It's-
that's fine. If it were one of my contracts, I would have an update
Sure,
for you.
of course.
We'll I'll get the attorney that is working on it to send an update to Director Couch.
And in regards to kickball, they were telling me that they have a whole slew of teams. I don't know. Do you have any information on how many people participate in that kickball program out there?
I don't at the moment, but I can get that information for you.
Yeah, no worries. Just kind of curious.
It's normally a very big operation. They have a great following. Mr. Larry Betts, who runs that operation, we look forward to having him out every year, and it seems like it just grows and grows and grows.
Any other questions for Mr. Mayfield?
I'd like to add one more thing. So for Interstate as well, there are several other things that staff is looking at improving there, which is the bleachers and some of the side amenities, trash cans, all that stuff. We've been working with different vendors to get different proposals to make some major improvements there in terms of side amenities as well. So that's bleachers, picnic tables, benches, trash cans, all of the above. So that's one of the projects that was requested in our bond project. So we're looking at that at many other projects as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayfield.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Couch. Didn't mean to put you on the spot either. Sorry about that. All right, Mr. Dorsey, you're up.
Good afternoon. You've got the operations report. I just want to highlight just a few things and then open it up for some questions. Kind of our big story has been helping with the marathon here a little bit, but I'm going to let Mike talk about that. But that was a very well put together thing. Took a lot of moving parts and a lot of our staff to help with that. Couple issues that have really been facing operations that are not in here that I'd like to highlight is the weather has kind of, you've seen some of these things on here on this update a little bit, and just kind of wanted to explain like Western Hills and finalizing that and the banana sculpture. So we're through with most of those projects almost completely, minus the final dirt work and some of the grading and getting that going. And it's just really difficult when we get 2 or 3 really nice sunny days and then 3 or 4 inches of rain. We just can't get the heavy equipment. So that's just kind of an ongoing thing that we're seeing on some of those projects, but we've moved on to a few others that you'll see there on the bottom of the last page. We're working on the lights at MacArthur. Those should be ready to pull wire and get ready to install those this next week. And then also the Dunbar Garden entry sign. We should have fence in and finalized and all that sculpture coming up in the next week or 2 as well. So that'll be really good to have those. Another issue that we've kind of been seeing and spending a little bit of time on here the last several weeks is we've been facing a lot of graffiti issues at several of the parks. And that's one of the things that we kind of make top priority is to try to stay on top of that so that stuff doesn't grow. And so I guess with the spring and more people getting out, that's just going to be kind of a constant thing for us is staying on top of that. So for sure, if you see anything, make sure to let us know as we're at, because we really want to do a good job of staying on top of that and keeping that covered up and painted. And then lastly, I'm super excited, and thanks for Angela. We do have 3 of our full-time positions have actually posted and advertised as of the other day. So really looking forward to getting our trail crew in and hired, and a lot of the work that they're going to start be doing on some of our trails. So that's all some really exciting stuff that'll be coming up here in the next month or so. So any questions about operations?
Questions for Deputy Director Dorsey?
Just add one comment. What's the Dunbar Gardens is our community garden. It's one of our sculpture selection sites. And so we'll be installing, it's supposed to be delivered, I believe, Friday. Is that still solid? So Friday we'll be receiving our new sculpture and we'll be installing in the next couple of weeks, depending on the weather. And so at that time, I'll try to send out notice to where everybody here will be invited to come out to a little ribbon ceremony for that new sculpture project. So look forward to that.
With regard to the graffiti that you were mentioning, Mr. Dorsey, I know that that's, it's not necessarily something that's just limited to parks properties. I think all of us here in town can see it. I mean, is that, do the funds to combat that, are those from Parks and Rec, or do they come from a different budget? Just kind of curious on that.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah.
Great question. So if it's parks related, we obviously take care of it. We do some of it in-house. We have contractors that also we utilize for painting. But it's interesting that this came up because actually this week, the mayor assigned a little small group of staff, and I'm one of them, to be included to figure out some different solutions to handle graffiti in the city and trash cleanup and stuff. And so not just parks related, but just in general. The easy solution just that's still there is to notify 311 of graffiti so we can put it on our list that staff can go out. That being Public Works or housing or whoever can help take care of that. But we're working to try to figure out maybe if there's another way to handle graffiti and clean up just generally because it's very important for our city to look its best. So,
thank you, Director Couch. Any other questions? Wishing you many sunny days ahead, sir.
For the graffiti, do you normally just paint over it, or what's the process just in general? Sorry to catch you with.
So it's that's a good question. So it depends. We have some restrooms that we're working on right now where they've been so much graffiti and they kind of have some vandalism that go along with that. We hire contractors and or our staff and we repaint the whole facility. And sometimes we figure out that if we change the tone of the paint or the color or the look of it, that discourages more graffiti. In other locations where we can do it, we actually wash it or power wash it off, soft wash, and we use contractors as well as it just kind of depends on where we are on project. So there's a different scenario of solutions there, I guess. So.
One question. Hey, Justin, what do you, the completing bid documents for the ALSOP and with bike trails, is that just improving them or extending the bike trails? Can you talk a little more about that, or was that you?
We're actually doing walkthroughs.
Okay.
Doing some
I can add to that a little bit. So there's RTP grants, which are recreational trail program grants from the federal government. And we manage that through our state highway department or work with them. And so we've applied for one for Boyle and we received that. And we're waiting for the city attorney's office to finalize that contract. That's been some time as well. And then we're in the process at also, and the current process is Justin's working on finalizing the construction documents. But it's these projects with the federal funds take a long time to go through. But the scope is not to really change so much that's in ALSOP. There's some desirable trail there, but to make it more loop and more friendly for mountain bikers and all users. So.
Very good. Any other questions? Okay. And now for the most sleepy man in the room.
So we hosted the 2023 Little Rock Marathon. It was our 21st annual marathon this past weekend. And by all accounts, everything we've heard so far, it went well. Saturday, we had our 5K and 10K, and both were sold out. Sunday, we had the half marathon and the marathon, and we were probably 98% sold out. So had a great showing. Starting to work our way back to pre-COVID numbers, but we actually didn't go all the way back to those numbers this year, trying to create the sellout to create the demand for people. So we're hoping in the next year or two we get back to those pre-COVID numbers. Everything went well. We had kids race. We ended up with over 1,000 kids running, in addition to about 400 parents, including Director Couch out there. We got pictures to prove it. And we had our health and fitness expo on Friday and Saturday, which was a rousing success. Our recreation department was a big part of that. This year, I think we did a better job than we have in the 11 years I've been a part of this, really engaging the rest of the parks department to bring them all and get them involved. The maintenance side, operations side, there's no way we could put this thing on without all of their help. And they've been doing that for year after year. But this year, for whatever reason, everything seemed to just flow very smoothly. So it was a great success behind the scenes that nobody sees. When we start setting up on Tuesday, we've got a warehouse way out on Arch Street, and we have to bring everything down to the convention center. That's normally a full day process. And basically it's our operations side with every truck and trailer we got loading up, and we take over 100 pallets from the warehouse down to the convention center, and we got it done in less than 3 hours, which is just unheard of on our side. So huge thank you to all of them. The recreation side set up at the Health and Fitness Expo, and they were there for both days of the expo, in addition to Sunday during our Athletes Village. And everybody had a great time, and they were very engaging, and we're trying to make that event more interactive, not just come in and buy some socks and pick up your packet and leave. So we think it went very well. That portion of it was very exciting for us, and it's something it was the first time we did it, so we're going to build on that and continue to grow that. Sunday during the marathon, it got a little warm, so we had to start implementing some of our safety protocols. And Director Couch got a phone call that I'm sure he was hoping he didn't get, and didn't want the next one that was coming after that. But all of our public safety officials that were part of planning the race, we had a very good plan and executed it and took the steps we needed to take, and we're ready to take further steps if necessary. But great cooperation from not just Little Rock Police and Little Rock Fire, but North Little Rock Police and North Little Rock Fire, because 6 of our first 7 miles are in North Little Rock, so they're a big part of that as well. So from everything I saw, it was a great success. Everything we're hearing so far, we're still cleaning up. Everybody says, "Oh, you're going to sleep on Monday." No, we take about a month to get everything picked up, put away, and pay all the bills and all that kind of stuff. And then April, you might not see much of us, but from what I can tell and from what we're hearing, it seemed to go very well.
Questions for Mr. Garrity?
I was down there on Sunday by MacArthur Park. It looked like it was well done and heavily attended. So thanks for all your help on it.
Yeah, we had great crowds on the course. We got lots of pictures. We've got a whole media team, and they made a very big effort to get out on the course during the 2 days when they were actually racing, to see the support from just the general public, but also we have cheer groups and aid stations and volunteer groups out there helping out with a lot of it. So we're really making a push on social media to show all the different groups that help. We have about 1,000 volunteers it takes for the whole weekend and the whole week to put this on. So we couldn't do it without all of them and all the help we get from everybody.
I'd like to add to the thanks there. So thank you for everybody. That there's so many people that were involved, but what I said thank you to and my welcoming was, these guys never get any credit, is our Geneva Lamb, who's our executive director, and Mike Garrity and
Brandy
Dixon, sorry. There are 3 main staff for the marathon, and they're the ones that put it all together. So Without them, we wouldn't have it, and it wouldn't run so smoothly. So I appreciate it.
Mike, just one quick question on the route itself, and I'm not a marathoner, so I don't know. Do you guys maintain the same route year over year? Do you change it? What goes into that thought process?
The hope is to always keep it the same. In 2021, we had to change because of the I-30 construction, because we went out to the airport and actually crossed over and under I-30, like I think it was 5 different times on the 2 days. So with that construction project being a 5-year project, we could have adjusted a route this year and then adjusted again the next year based on where they were. But to change your course, especially the marathon and half marathon, we get them certified by the USA Track and Field so that we can be a qualifier for the Boston Marathon. You have to have a certified course. To do that is a bit of an undertaking, so you don't want to do that every year. So we made the decision to change our courses for 2021 where we don't go east of I-30 at all. So we avoid all the construction. Once that project's done, we're going to look at going back east because there's we want to go by the library, the Clinton Library, and into the east where they're redoing some of the areas over there in East Little Rock, go out by the airport. That kind of thing. So we want to go back that way. So once the I-30 project's completed, we will most likely adjust our course. But the goal is not to change it because logistically it's a lot because we have permanent mile markers out there on the course. So those will have to be moved. And then you've got to move to your aid stations and you've got to move your cheer station. It's a rolling thing that takes a lot. So we try not to do it. There was a while there where we were doing it every couple of years and it's not fun. So the goal is not to change it, but Understood. I think we're going to change it at least once that construction project's complete.
Understood. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Garrity?
Being at the expo, lucky enough to be at the expo for the couple of days there, I heard nothing but compliments. It was really great that I heard so many people saying the energy and the excitement was back like it was before COVID. And so I just wanted to say how many compliments I overheard as well as was told. And then as far as the route for upcoming years, whenever it affects, say, the Arkansas River Trail or anything like that, what is the best way to get updates on detours or any kind of barricades or crossings as far as not vehicle traffic, but pedestrian and bicycle traffic?
I'm not sure. We put public notice signage out. We're required to put it out 30 days ahead. So we try to post it, and we probably need to do more of that. But we also probably need to work with the different groups, the biking groups and the running groups and that type of thing to improve that. We put things on social media. We put this little yard signs out, but there's always more we could do. So if you have thoughts on that, we'd love to hear them. Right now, we're collecting after action thoughts from anybody and everybody. So if you saw anything or were part of it or just happened to drive by and couldn't get to church on Sunday, let us know. Because that's a big thing we hear the week leading up to it is I've got to get to church, or I've got a meeting I've got to get to, or I've got to get to breakfast on Sunday morning, and when do the roads close? So we'd always love to hear what issues people had so we can try and either help prevent those with better signage or better notification or whatever it is. So if you have any thoughts on that, we'd love to hear it.
Well, we didn't get any complaints. It was more of a lot of questions. And so we were just offering the trail map for the marathon, which answered a lot of questions, and then also just kind of gave a heads up as far as cyclists and pedestrians on the Arkansas River Trail. So it was just made me realize, I bet I could reach out ahead of time and just have that information readily available,
right,
and answer questions so that we continue to not get any.
Yeah, so that I don't know that we reach out to those groups in particular, but that's something that we'll definitely add for the future.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Last chance. Any questions for Mr. Garrity?
If I may,
Please.
Commissioner Bowie, I'd like to tip my hat to Deputy Director Shawanda Robinson for spearheading the recreational division's engagement in the expo. She was, very engaged up until the time that she had to take off for medical purposes.
Thank you, Mr. Merrifield. Noted. No doubt Ms. Robinson was very much engaged. So thank you for saying that. Appreciate that. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Garrity.
Thank you.
Moving on in our agenda, old business, just quickly. Oh, I'm so sorry. Maintenance. My apologies, Mr. JP.
I don't want to
Can't
put you
leave
on.
out Mr. Rogers.
I don't want to put you on.
That's fine. No, I don't have much. We're cutting grass, so it's starting. Biggest thing we've got, if you've got a teenager between 16 and 18 and they're sitting on the couch and you want them to have something to do this summer, we have a Parks Pioneer program. We'll pay them to come out. So, go through the website, HR, Little Rock HR. We're looking for up to 19 students. I think we have 8 have applied so far. So if you've got somebody that needs a job, they don't want to sit there and game all summer, send them out to us. We'll take them outside and they can have all kinds of fun. So that's the only thing I've
What was that called again? Parks Pioneers?
So the Park Pioneer program was something that we've held for a long time, and then it fell off because of COVID, another one of those COVID things. And so this is our first year to bring it back, and it's the ability to hire kids to come in and work for us throughout the summer, or what is it, a 2-month period roughly?
Basically, 60 days roughly that we train them. They go out with our crews. My son went through this program. A lot of them's first job. They learn job skills. We can go through a full interview process, treat them just like they get drug tested. We treat them just like a regular employee. They are, there's certain things they can't do. We don't turn them loose with a chainsaw. 16-year-old with a chainsaw is, I can attest, is not the safest thing. But we do. They run equipment. They're out doing the same things that we do. They're landscaping. They're mowing, running a string trimmer, all of that. So we do come out, and they've got, if you want them to also learn how to mow your yard, we can train them on that. So, but we've got it's a good program. It teaches them life skills. They learn how to, like I said, they do learn how to interview. They learn how to come in, how to deal with the public. We do I think some of them have gone into the community centers in the past if we have enough. So we do have several areas, but that's one that we're looking for. We're looking for part-time help, for 40-hour a week. But this is the other thing. They work 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday. There's no weekends. There's no overtime with the Pioneers. So, but it is a good job opportunity. If they're looking for something to do, earn a little money, learn a skill or two, we're open. So.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Rogers?
Thank you, JP. I'd like to use this time too to say this is the hardest time of the year for us to keep up with our grass mowing. That with the heat coming back, it always has the rain as well right now, and so it's hard to cut grass in the rain. So please give us as much leeway as possible right now, so JP can keep up to speed on getting the grass cut and keeping the parks looking good. Thank you.
So I'm glad you mentioned the Parks Pioneers program. So for our thousands of YouTube followers who are watching our videos after this, those of you on YouTube can refer people to the Parks Pioneer program. I think it sounds like it's a good program for some kids. So thank you very much, Mr. Rogers. Okay. Now that we have successfully checked off on all the staff reports, quickly calling out the old business that you do see there on your agenda. Once again, thank you to all of the commissioners. We'd had 100% attendance at our specially called meeting last month on the park property transfer, which everyone did approve unanimously. So thank you guys for your participation in that. And lastly, we did enjoy seeing and hearing from Ms. Hatfield on Boyle Park last month. So thank you for that presentation. Was there anything, Director Couch, you wanted to mention about those 2 items there?
No comment.
Okay, very good. Let's move on to new business. Let's see, subcommittee reports. First on the list is social media and outreach. So let's turn to Commissioner France, I believe, for any kind of an update.
Yeah, thank you. I will say I've done a terrible job as my first month as a social media chair, but I'm going to get with Mike after this and put together some time on our calendars to meet. And I want to make sure we bring value, you know, in these reports and social media and just not come up here and say a bunch of fluff. So I want to make sure I understand kind of the process and everything. But forgive me for my first month of not doing anything. So, but Mike, I'll talk to you after this meeting.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your help.
Yeah.
Master plan. So Commissioner Smith is not here. I don't know, Director, did you have anything?
Do not.
No? Okay. All right. Very good. We'll look to hear an update on that perhaps maybe next month. So we're going to turn our attention online to Commissioner Eldridge for a quick update on Parks Conservancy. Lauren?
So as y'all know, we started the campaign for the City Parks Conservancy last month. We now have 5 of 7 commissioners who were signed up as sustaining members of that of the Friends group. So I encourage the other 2 to go for it, jump in. It's for a great cause, and it'll be exciting to see how much we can grow this as the months and years go on.
If you want to go ahead.
Well, to that end, I was going to say you feel free to share information about the Friends group with your friends and your family and on social media as we try to build this group and just see where it goes with all of the ideas. Obviously, the goal was to start small and kind of build, and obviously after a month we're still in that building phase, but again, it's for a great cause, and it'll be fun to see how much we can grow this and what all we can do through these efforts.
Thank you, Commissioner Eldridge, for that. I did happen to, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to try to put him on the spot, but I think maybe Commissioner Firstel was going to tag on there just very quickly.
Sure. I did just want to say, so when Lauren gave her update last month, I just got on the website on my iPad while we were in this meeting. It took me less than 5 minutes to sign up for it. It was super easy. So I encourage the remaining 2 commissioners to just get on and do it. It's like I said, very easy to do. And then the millions watching at home, encourage you as well. But great cause. And Lauren, thanks for your work on that.
I'm doing it now. Thank you.
We're not naming names. We're not naming names, but yeah, thanks to everybody that signed up. Okay, very good. Thank you, Lauren, for that update. On to the next agenda item very quickly. Director Couch, we have here some highlights for Kiwanis Park. I think we were talking about this a little earlier. This was maybe something Director Lewis had asked about. Anything that you'd like to say about this particular point today?
Yeah, so this was just, again, for us, part of the master plan committee, I guess, came up with this concept to give some updates. So I don't have a pretty presentation for Kiwanis like I did for Boyle. Boyle was in the process of many, many years. I do have this report for Kiwanis, is that Kiwanis was highlighted very much in the community input for improvements using the bond money. Currently, we are working with different vendors to come up with some improvements for the basketball courts. We're starting to get some quotes as recent as even today to resurface those courts and put in some new goals and bring that back up to where it should be. Also, we removed the playground there a couple years back due to some need for replacement. We lost some funding that we thought we had for replacement. Anyway, long story short, we'll be replacing that playground as part of our bond package as well. So those are the big improvements for Kiwanis that we have on our to-do list. I do realize there are other improvements that the neighborhood wants in terms of splash pads and parking lots and all kinds of good stuff. Those are still to be considered because of the amount of funding. But that is the update for Kiwanis. If you haven't been there, it's between Holt and Foster Street off of John Barrow. It's a nice park. We're also working with the Kiwanis Club. I have been trying to make it to some local meetings that they have to try to raise some support from them as well. But their meetings are at the same time as our board meetings, the city board meetings. So there's been a challenge to get to those meetings, but we'll figure that out and work through all that. So that's Kiwanis. I'll take the question to see if there's any park highlights that the commission would like to see for another park. And I would like to try to, both of them, the last ones, these two parks are right on top of each other in Ward 6. So maybe if we could move to another ward and get some other parts of the city highlighted in terms of some different park highlights. So is there any question for a different location?
I just had a question on the parking lot, like barriers down, or is it permanent like that, or what's the situation?
Yep. So I guess thank you to our commissioner that has actually gone out and visited the park and checked it out, right? So that's a good question. Kiwanis Park has a nice parking lot. It used to have a gate on it that was requested, I'm assuming from the neighborhood. This was from several years ago. And it was an operating gate, electronic, so where it opened for and closed at night. That became dysfunctional some years ago, and due to the neighborhood and the previous park directors over the years, I guess it was decided to leave it closed. I haven't been in communication, great communication recently about that. There is some desire to discuss, that, but I know that there's a desire to close it at night and then open it. It's a challenge to do that. The electronic gates don't function well. People vandalize them and beat them and run into them. So there's not a real easy solution there.
So we do work over at Burns Park, and sometimes it's pretty late at night, and they, by the baseball field and then flipping back around, they work with the police department there, and the police department locks it and opens it up. Or park staff opens it in the morning, police lock it up at night, I think is the routine. That may be helpful, I don't know, but
yeah, so we've tried some different scenarios like that. We could do that on a temporary basis in some locations, but for us to open and close over 70 different locations, and it turns into that. Once you start doing that at one location, it continues to
wants to be there at all.
Right. And so it's just a real challenge in terms of closing and opening parking lots and for different parks.
Commissioners, any ideas off the top of your head for a park that you might want to see highlighted by Director Couch and his staff in the future? Nobody has to speak up right now, but if you do have some ideas, maybe share them later. Sorry.
I just like jumping between ward and ward. I don't know if we've done Ward 1 yet. I know we've done like Ward 3 and
I think all we've really done is Ward 6. We just started this with Boyle and Kiwanis. Ward 1 is great. I could name off a few different parks. There's East Little Rock out there, Hanger Hill, Cheatham Park, which is a smaller neighborhood park. East Little Rock, that I could give a great update on that. There's a lot going on there. The other two have been updated and are kind of sustained right now. So yeah, if you want to just say award, maybe I could just kind of pick out what's a good one. Ward 1.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Okay, seeing good thumbs up. We'll do a report on Ward 1 parks next month. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Director Couch. All right, we're going to go back to Lauren for an update on the golf tournament. So Commissioner Eldridge, back to you.
Not a ton to report on the golf tournament. I do have some flyers ready. I'm just, I want to make sure that the websites for the registration and sponsors are ready to go before we start kind of pushing those out. I've also got a flyer for the sponsors that's almost ready to go. And so once those are done, which I imagine will be in the next week or two, I'll try to distribute those so you can start kind of generating a list of people. It'd be nice if each commissioner could kind of come up with a list of local businesses or friends that they know who own or connected to local businesses, and just try to approach them with these sponsorship requests. And all the information will be on the flyer. So, and if you have any additional questions, you can obviously ask me about those. But like I said, just waiting to get the website.
Lauren, we may have lost you.
I'm sorry, somebody was trying to call me. I'm going to be talking to Mike about the registration portal soon. And then I think Matt is my source for the sponsorship payment option on the Parks Conservancy front. But so we're getting close to being able to kind of start pushing it out and getting information to people who might be interested in registering, and additionally, and most importantly, trying to get information to sponsors who would be interested in donating to the cause.
And just for our hundreds of millions of followers on YouTube, what was that date again for the golf tournament?
May 19th, 2023. I'm hoping we're going to have just as much luck as Mike and his crew did on Sunday for the marathon, because it sure was beautiful for that.
Great. Any questions for Commissioner Eldridge?
Hey, Lauren, on the sponsor list that you sent that were sponsored last year, are you going to reach out to them, or do you want to split that up? How do you want to go about that?
And I'm sorry, I don't know that I've sent that out yet, but I do have a list that I need to move to the computer. And what I can do is, what I'll do is just send it out. And if anybody knows of those companies personally and they want to be the ones to reach out to them, I would appreciate that. And you can just kind of let me know as we go along. But in the past, they've been hit and miss. So it's kind of, I feel like we start over every year, sort of blindly reaching out to people. There are a few return sponsors, but without fail, inflation, a couple of years ago, it was COVID. There's always something that's going on that makes it harder to get repeat sponsors.
Other questions on the golf tournament for Commissioner Eldridge?
I might have missed this, but quick question. Do we have a flyer? You have the flyer, Lauren, that we can put out on social media?
She's displaying it right there, folks. There it is.
Awesome.
Live and in person.
I will, I do have it. We can put it out on social media. I want to make sure that the website that I've put, right now it just says littlerock.gov. So I want to make sure that whatever URL that we have and that we want people to go to in order to register is correct before we shoot that out. But what I'd like to do is, before we start marketing it, just make sure that you, Leland, Matt, everybody else on the commission, is signs off on it. I want it to be a group effort, that everything looks good, the message looks good, and if there's any comments or suggestions, and what I can do is send that out to everybody after the meeting, and start fielding those comments if possible.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Just as a reminder.
Yes, one person or not a group email.
Conduct a meeting through email, if we could, please. And maybe comments should be sent to Director Couch from commissioners.
Yeah, let's do that. Maybe Lauren, just so to Counselor's point, maybe you could send the flyer to Director Couch, and we could direct our commentary to him for anything of that nature, so that we're not running afoul of any of our bylaws with regards to meetings. So if you wouldn't mind on that.
Of course.
Hey, Lauren, just one quick thought. Yeah. If we are, and I know we are, because you and I have been talking about it, the sponsorship program with the Parks Conservancy, I don't know if there's an opportunity, maybe there is, to make mention of that on the flyer too. Just something to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact,
So-
I had just taken the Conservancy JPEG off of the website or off of your email. I can't remember which, to try and add that. So thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, no problem at all. And one other thought, everybody is doing a QR code, and I don't know, maybe this is something for you and Mike to kind of talk about, but I don't know if maybe putting a QR code on there for the registration might be easier. I don't know. I'll leave that with you guys.
That's really hip. I like it.
Any other questions or comments for our billions of YouTube followers? We're growing our YouTube base here. You see how we're doing that? There we go. All right. Thank you, Lauren, for that update. Really appreciate all your work on this. It's going to be a great event. Last point, folks, under new business, look for an update from Director Couch on the upcoming social event. More to come on that a little bit later on. Okay. Agenda items for next meeting. I think we've already got one. Well, it's not really an agenda item, but I know we're going to hear from Director Couch and/or staff on Award 1 East Little Rock Park next month. Any other agenda items that we need to add for the April meeting?
I would like to have one concept as long as the commission approves. I would like to discuss the social media aspect of the Friends group. So it's online and it's going good from the Park Conservancy. I would like to discuss getting the social media out there in regards to the Little Rock Parks and Recreation, Facebook and everything else in terms of how do we broadcast that we have a Friends group. I think we've got the soft side of it operating, and that's great, and I really appreciate it, but I'd like to figure out how to kind of put it out a little bit bigger to the masses.
I can speak to that very quickly. There is going to be a meeting with Mr. Garrity here in the next couple of weeks after he comes up for air after the marathon to talk about a combined social media program for presenting the Friends program out and about to the masses. So we'll look to have perhaps Lauren provide an update on that in the Parks Conservancy update next month.
Okay.
Can you include me in that meeting just so we can?
Sure, absolutely, of course.
Social media.
Of course,
want to
absolutely.
Yeah, I was trying to get Ben involved.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just kind of jumped in there. I was wearing my Conservancy hat there for a second.
Good.
Okay, we don't have any other agenda items. All right, we don't have any board liaison feedback today. Directors Lewis and Peck are not with us. So, folks, 12:57. Next meeting is Wednesday, April the 12th. This will conclude the Wednesday, March 8th meeting of the Parks Conservancy. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks, Lauren, for being online. Meeting adjourned. Until next month.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel.